Welcome to another hsextra.com high school football video coaches clipboard edition. I am Joe Serrera, and I'm joined again this week by Eastern Guilford head coach Tony Aguilar. Coach Aguilar, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Your Wildcats have won 2 road games in the playoffs at Parkwood and at Irwin. Averaged 59 points in those wins. I know you're an offensive guy, but did you see that coming?
Honestly, did not. Once you get in the playoffs, especially the way the new format is, you know that even the first round games are very difficult. So it was a good night for both weeks, and we're just excited to still be playing.
The guy whose numbers jump out from those last 2 games, obviously, you've seen your running back Jaden Evans, 678 yards and 10 touchdowns in 2 games. Is that right?
Yeah, that's not bad, is it?
No, it isn't. And I mean, both of those are nearly half his season totals. I know he was banged up earlier in the year. It was great when you got him back. Was it a conscious decision to get him the ball, feed him the ball more, and be a little more ground oriented after the Dudley game, or was it just the matchups that you had in these first 2 games?
Honestly, it was the matchups. We started off running the ball. We had a lot of success. I didn't realize until the end of the game that he actually had 37 carries in the Parkwood game, and that's some Derrick Henry type carries. Yep. And for a high school kid, he's not the biggest of young men we have, but to sustain that kind of punishment for 37 carries and just be ready for the next week to do it again, I thought was phenomenal. So. But the credit's got to go to our offensive linemen, those big cats.
Yep.
We felt like that was going to be our advantage, and we said that in the beginning of the year. And they're now just, they're playing on a high level, all 5 of them, and playing as a unit. So, when you get all 5 of those guys rolling and Jaden going, and he can mix in, the pass with it, we feel like we've done some good things the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it seems like getting off to a good start for your team is huge. That Dudley game, the field position you guys had early in the game was horrendous. You were never really able to get anything going. And these last 2 games, you have been able to get it going and kind of set the tone, it seemed like, with that ground game with that offensive line.
Yeah, and it's just, being balanced is something we try to do. And the first couple of weeks, first games of the playoffs, we've been able to throw it just enough to keep people honest, and Tyreek's done again a great job of protecting the ball. He's thrown for 3 touchdowns and 0 interceptions in the playoffs.
Yep.
He's done a great job. Our receivers not only have done a good job catching, but blocking downfield, which the linemen get the credit, but when he breaks those big runs, that means some of them skinny guys are making some plays downfield, and we haven't been penalized a whole lot, which we have been previously. So that's been a huge difference for us as well.
Yeah, you talk about the receivers blocking. A lot of people don't get that. The difference between an 8-yard run and a 48-yard run is somebody at the edge with a kick-out block or pinning somebody and letting your guy get around the edge. And obviously your receivers are doing that right now.
And a big part is, being smart, because there's been opportunities where you can make those peel back blocks, and now it's just more of a pick type block. So we've kind of, Coach Jones has done a great job with those receivers, and week in and week out, they've gotten smarter with just how they block. So I think that's been pretty awesome to see, just the transition and adjusting to the different refereeing you see as well. So
sure, yeah,
you gotta make sure you're doing things the right way. So that's been huge for us.
Yeah, it's easy to get called for a block in the back or hold out on the edge, and sometimes it is very subjective. But obviously, your guys have been doing it right. The downside of the last couple of games, giving up 42 points in each of the last 2 games and 135 in your last 3. That's probably not sustainable, deep into the playoffs. Where do you need to tighten up on that side of the ball?
Well, everybody looks at the passing yards, and it's easy to sit there and say, well, they've thrown for, 300 plus both games. We had this conversation yesterday with our defensive guys that, everybody goes, well, what's wrong with the DBs? Well, from my end and our end, it's like, well, it's easy to point fingers at the corners and the safeties, but our linebackers and our D-line's got to put some pressure on the kids. So if you're averaging a ton of sacks, then we're not having this conversation. So we got to just finish plays. I think we're trying to, just hit people, make big hits that are exciting and look good on highlight tapes instead of wrapping up. We've been there several times. We're missing a lot of tackles that A, could be for losses, or for minimal gains that a kid catches a 5-yard hitch and then we miss a tackle and he takes it for 60. So, just finishing the football play and everybody swarming to the ball has got to be a key that we got to get better at this week. And it's been a big focus for us.
Yeah, and some of it too, I'm sure, is a function of you guys being ahead and controlling the ball with your ground game, and the other team's having to play from behind and have to throw. And some of their numbers are going to come from that a little bit too.
Correct, and Parkwood, Irwin, even West Henderson this week. I mean, these are 3 teams that love to throw the football, and they all have dynamic receivers and very good quarterbacks, and they're very good at what they do. So, for them to have the success that they have had, they're obviously good at it, and we've just got to figure them out this week and do a little better job of keeping them off the field.
Yeah, you mentioned West Henderson on Friday night. Nice 200-mile bus ride each way. It'll be a lot more fun coming back if you could come back from the win with a win. But you mentioned their passing game. Their quarterback's thrown for 41 touchdowns, rushed for 9. They've got a receiver who's got 87 catches, 25 touchdowns. Obviously, they like to throw the ball, but they've also got a 1,000-yard runner. It's got to make an offense like that difficult to defend.
Yeah, it hasn't been a good couple of nights of sleep here. So just kind of worried about them. But, when you get in these games and it's cold, it's going to be, last week we had to deal with the rain. We had to deal with the 3-hour bus ride. And so now I feel like we can handle the bus ride and not have problems there. But it's just a matter of which team's going to adjust to the cold, because I think the high is 42 and the low is like 25. So it'd be about 30-something about game time. And which team can adjust to the cold and which team. And I think, if we're able to sustain that running game, I think that helps in the cold. And we're going to lean on them and try and put pressure on that quarterback the best we can and get him off his spot.
Well, it's been a great run for your Wildcats through the playoffs so far. We wish you luck Friday night going up to West Henderson to play there. And hopefully we'll be talking to you next week.
I've enjoyed every time we get to talk, so I hope to see them glasses and that face of yours next week too. So I've really enjoyed it, and we talked about when you're hearing that Christmas music, you're having a good season, and the grass has already died, and I'm starting to hear it on the radio. But we're going to ride this wave as long as we can, and we've really enjoyed this season, and especially the coverage, and we're just going to continue to keep trying to hang it on.
Sounds good. Thank you for your time again, Coach.
Hey, I appreciate you.